أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي آمين يا رب العالمين. Assalamu alaikum everyone. I hope all of you are doing great. Today inshallah we are going to continue our series on various modes of stress, and the one that we're going to cover in this lesson is about the oath and how stress is put by using an oath. All right, so without further ado, let's get on with our lesson. And of course, before beginning it, we are going to seek for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's help to make it easy for all of us to understand as well as to teach. So, Rabbi Yassir, Wala Tu'assir, wa Tammim bil Khair, Amir Rabbil Alameen. Alright, now, of course, you must be familiar with this figure by now because this summarizes all the different modes of putting stress. All right, so the ones that we have already covered so far are the masadir, synonyms, various patterns for mubalagha. Mubalagha is the exaggerated form, or you could say the hyperbole. Okay, then we have already covered the stress words, and then we also covered rafa pronouns. We have completed superlatives, comparatives. We have also done the stressed present tense and lam ta'kid. All right, so we are pretty much done with this. The one that we are going to cover in this lesson is oath, inshallah. All right, and the next one would be about astonishment. Okay, the next lesson would be about astonishment. All right, so about oath. Now, first of all, what exactly is an oath for those who don't exactly have a clear idea of this? We all use oaths in our daily life. Okay, so for example, I swear upon God I didn't do it, or I swear I'm not going to go there again. And many other examples. Okay, so we are all familiar with the concept of oath. Okay, now, when it comes to oaths in Arabic, there are a couple of points that we must know, and if we know those points, whenever we come across any oath in the Quran Pak, our antennae are going to be alert. Okay, they're going to be on high alert, and we are going to pay even more attention towards the oath and what follows it. Okay, so but in order to do that, we first need to know the important pointers that oaths have in Arabic language. Okay, so let's cover those pointers. First of all, well, the foremost point is that they are slightly different from the oaths that we take in English. Okay, so in English we don't necessarily have to we don't necessarily have to take an oath by something. Okay, because just like I showed over here, I swear I'm not going to go there again. So here you cannot see any object by which the oath has been taken. You can simply see the word swear and well, the thing's done. Okay, so oath has been taken. However, this is not the case in Arabic. Okay, an oath in Arabic must always have the thing that is sworn by. Okay, so the thing that you swear by is called the object of oath. Okay, for example, I swear upon God I didn't do it. Here the word God is the object of oath. Okay, all right, and it is always going to be present in the oaths taken in Arabic. Okay, all right, the next thing that's gonna be present in the oaths in Arabic is the subject of the oath, which is simply the theme of the oath. All right, so over here you can see this is the theme, so this is the subject of the oath. Similarly, this portion here, I'm not going to go there again, it is once again the subject of the oath, it is the theme of the oath. Okay, all right, now there are a few points about the object of the oath that we must know. First thing is that the object of oath is thematically connected to the subject of the oath. This is quite obvious actually when you look at it, because there has to be a theme, and you can't just make any haphazard oath. Okay, for example, I swear upon the pen I am going to educate every kid in this village. Okay, so what do you see? You see that this oath has been taken on pen. Now, when you see pen, of course, what is going to come to your mind? Education, of course, right? So, uh, the subject of the oath is actually thematically connected to the object of the oath. Okay? So you can't exactly expect anything else to be the subject of the oath when you see the word pen as the object of oath. For example, you are not going to expect this example to be, I swear upon the pen, I'm going to finish watching that TV series that I have been watching for the past 2 days and or 2 months. Okay, so TV series don't exactly match up with pen, does it? Okay, so when the object of the oath is pen, you automatically tune your mind to expect something that is related to pen or simply the object of the oath. Okay, this was our first example. Now come to the second example. All right, what does it say? I swear upon my sword, I am not going to let the intruders walk freely over here. Now, when you see the word sword, what do you expect? You don't expect any merry-go-round ride over there, right? Of course not. So, what does it signify? The word sword signifies strength, power, all right, and all might. So all of these things come to your mind when you see the word sword as the object of oath, and this is exactly what has happened over here. Okay, all right, now the object of oath serves the following functions. So what are the things that you should tune your mind to, or what are the things that you should know about the object of oath in order to fully understand when you see the object of oath? Okay, this is what we are going to cover now. First of all, as I previously mentioned, or rather I've already mentioned, that it mentally prepares the audience about the connected theme that's coming up. Okay, and I've shown you this pointer in the first two examples above. Okay, so it prepares the audience mentally. Next, it gives credibility to the speaker about the upcoming subject of oath. Credibility. Okay. Next, it catches the undivided attention of the audience. All right. So, of course, if I simply eliminate this part or omit this part, okay, so you don't know what's being talked about, I simply say, I swear upon my sword, and then I just stay quiet. I don't finish my, I don't complete my sentence. Then, of course, you are going to demand more information that, okay, you have sworn upon your sword. Uh, what have you sworn by? What is the subject? What is the theme? All right, so what you're going to do? That is what's going to pop up in the mind of the audience, and of course this is going to lead to their undivided attention in order to know what comes next. Okay, so it catches the undivided attention, and this is the reason that this oath thing is very, very, very common in the Arabic culture. Okay, and it was extremely common back then as well, when the Quran Pak was revealed. Okay, so it has always been a very common thing in almost all the cultures, including the Arab culture. Okay, finally, it acts as a prelude to what's about to come. All right, so just as I told you earlier on that I swear upon my sword, I'm not going to let the intruders walk here freely. Over here, the word sword signifies strength or power, might, military might or something. Okay, so it has automatically not only prepared you mentally for the upcoming subject of the oath, it has also acted as a prelude. Prelude simply means that it's like a preamble, it's like an introduction, or it alludes to what's about to come next. Okay, so it kind of gives the hint that what's about to be talked about. Okay, So it acts as a prelude to what's about to come. And it's the same as the example with the pen as well. Okay, now before we move on to the actual structure and how we make or how we understand oaths, let's just, build the foundation a bit stronger. And for that, we are going to see an English analogy. Let's just say we have a sample sentence over here. Let's just say that it says, not only did he realize he was wrong, he also, and then I let the sentence hang in mid-air. Okay, I don't complete it. All right. So if I just stopped at this point, he also. Okay. So by using this structure, not only, what I have done is that I have made my audience a bit curious to know the latter part of the sentence, that he also what. Okay, and this is one of the structures used in English, and it's very common. Okay, so not only did he realize he was wrong, he also, so on and so forth, whatever. Okay, he also apologized for his mistake, or he also, or for example, not only did he realize he was wrong, he also mended his ways. Okay, so there are many possibilities, but all of those things are going to be correct, are going to be automatically connected to him being wrong. Okay, so the audience is going to be curious to know the latter half of the sentence. All right, and it also alludes to a possible apology by that boy. Okay, so that's the English analogy, and this is pretty much the same thing that happens in oaths in Arabic. Okay, so the object of oath um, induces this curiosity in the audience to know the latter half, or to know what's being talked about or what's upcoming in the sentence. Okay, that's what. All right, now there are four haruf for that, and we are already familiar with them. We know B, we know Ta, we know Wa, and we also know La. Okay, so and of course you already remember from your lesson on haruf jar that we only use the with the when the object of oath is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, so this the is never used with anything that is other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, so while the others can be used for anything other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, and we are all familiar with wa and bi, la. Okay, and ta is only used with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then there are some other words that you might come across. Uqsimu, for example, I swear. Okay, same the case with la amri. Now come to the structure. Okay, so first of all we have the qasam. Qasam is the Arabic term for oath. Okay, and then we have jawab al-qasam. All right, and that is actually the subject. Okay, so here we have the object of oath, and then we have the subject of oath, aka or also known as jawab al-qasam. So the theme comes up in the form of jawab al-qasam. All right, now if you see a qasam, there has to be a jawab al-qasam. Obviously you're not going to let the sentence hang in mid-air, right? So if there is a qasam, there has to be jawab al-qasam, and that's what you are going to tune your mind to identify while you're reciting the Quran Pak. Okay, so this is quite simple actually, nothing to elaborate on it. And now you're going to see a couple of examples, and then I'm going to leave you on your own to practice identifying some more qasam and jawab al-qasam from the Musaf, inshallah. Okay, now first example is from Surah Yasin. Okay, so Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Yasin wal Qur'an al-Hakim innaka lamin al-mursaleen. All right, now you can understand each and everything from this, from these two ayat, in terms of grammar. All right, and in terms of stress, because we have covered all of these. Okay, we know innaka, we know this lami takid over here. Okay, so you can identify it. Now, what you are going to see is the qasam and jawab al-qasam part. So this is wa. Now, is it the harufe ataf? It doesn't really make any sense to have a harufe or to have a harfe ataf in the beginning of this surah. So naturally, you're not going to think of this wa as harufe ataf, and you're going to confirm your conclusion by looking at the next word, which of course is majroor over here. So it's a jar majroor fragment with the word or with the harf wa. So obviously it is oath, and the word al-Qur'ani is the object of oath. Okay, next. This al-Qur'an al-Hakimi is Mawsuf Sifa. Okay, and this is something that we have already covered back in section B. So if you haven't watched that lesson, I would really urge you to go back and watch that lesson about fragments, Mawsuf Sifa. Okay, all right. So we have our qasam part over here. Now, what comes is the Jawab al-Qasam. You're going to automatically start searching for it. What does it say? Innaka laminal mursaleen. Right? So this is Jawab al-Qasam, without any doubt. Okay? Now, I told you that the Jawab al-Qasam is connected thematically to the Qasam, and this is where reflection and ponderance in the Quran, or ponderance over the ayat of Quran, comes. Okay, it's a topic that is going to be discussed in a huge detail in the balagha section, inshallah, but here we are just touching the foundations. So here we are just going to restrict ourselves to the structure and the science and the identification of these structures. Okay, balagha part is going to come in its respective section. Okay, all right. So for now, simply understand that if this is a qasam, this is the jawab al qasam, and well, if you want, you can of course reflect on it. You can try and think over it, and if you match your thinking or your thoughts with what's given in the tafsir of your mushaf, then, and if it matches, then trust me, it's going to make your day as well, just as it does mine. Okay, so that's a very wonderful feeling if your thoughts get matched by what's written in the tafsir. So that's really cool. All right, so our first example is done. All right, I hope it's understood and clear. Now, this is a very, very, very common example. Well, asri, once again, jar majroor fragment, so it has to be the ba of qasam. Okay, and then we have the jawab al qasam right next to it. Innal insana lafi khusrin. Now, once again, you know everything in this ayah, with the exception of this little thing. We are going to cover this in the upcoming lessons, inshallah. Okay, so what does it say? You know about innal insana. You also know the lam takid right here, and it says by, or well, asri, it means oath by time. A very, very, very crude and superficial definition, or translation rather. um, by time, indeed, the mankind is most definitely in a huge loss. Now, why am I translating khusrin as a huge loss? This is going to come up in the later lessons, okay? Actually, within this series, but it's going to come up soon, inshallah, okay? That's when we're going to discuss this huge loss thing, inshallah. Okay, so grammatically, in terms of oath, we are done with it. Well, asri is a qasam, and innal insana lafi khusrin is jawabul qasam. Okay, once again, the ponderance and the reflection part comes up when you start thinking about balagha, or even if you're not, over there yet, you can simply start thinking about it yourself, because we are being talked about, the time is being talked about, and then we have a huge loss. Okay, so a lot of possibilities come to the mind actually. All right, so one of them is that time, we keep on losing time anyways. Okay, so time is nobody's property. and well, we are losing it. And the worst part is that we are losing it in unimportant things, really, most of the time. Okay, so scrolling Facebook and YouTube and all these things, even I'm guilty of these things, of course, everybody is. So all right, so there are many reflections, there are many possibilities, and we're not going to discuss these things over here. Okay, simply identification, and then how you're going to reflect on these things is going to be a part of tafsir, inshallah. Now, our final example: Watini Wazaitun, Waturi Sinin, Wahazal Baladil Amin. Now, what's happening here? There are a lot of was over here. This wa is jar, harf jar, and this is the oath, okay? And then you have the object of oath, which is, of course, in jar form. Then you've got another wa, and the next word is also jar. However, this wa is the harf ataf. It's the word that means and. Okay, why? Because one oath or one harf for oath has already been taken. Now we are only going to connect various other objects by using the harf ataf and. Okay, so it says by teen, and then you've got and Zatun and the Turesinin, Mount of Sinai. Then and this city of peace, or this peaceful city. Okay, now why did I not translate it as city of peace? Because in English it means city of peace, yes, but in Arabic it is actually Mawsuf Sifa. Why? Because balad is actually al baladi. Okay, so it has al attached to it, which is not the condition, or which is not the case in muzaf. Okay, so it's not musaf alayh fragment, it is mawsuf sifa. All right, so what do you see here? You see that you can have multiple objects of oath as well. Okay, as you can see over here, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 objects of oath, and then you've got laqad khalaqna al-insana fi ahsani taqweem. Okay, this is the jawab al-qasam, that indeed, now you know what laqad is. All right, and actually you can work out everything over here. All right, because you can see this ahsani taqweem as well. Okay, this is your superlative by making the muzaf alayh fragment. Okay, so laqad khalaqnal insana fi ahsani taqweem. This is jawab al-qasam. Now this theme is actually connected to all these objects of oath. How so? Once again, tafsir plays its role here. Okay, but of course, as I mentioned earlier, you must reflect on these things and then match your thoughts with what's written in the tafsir. Okay, so well, this was our last example, and I hope that it is clear. And well, it was a very simple lesson, to be honest, quite unlike the previous one, which was easy, but it had a couple of extra concepts in it. Okay, so well, we are done with our oath as well, and inshallah, in the next lesson, we're going to address the concept of astonishment. Okay, or astonishment simply means wow. Okay, so this also puts stress. So I'll leave you now. Best of luck identifying these oaths in the Musaf. And now that you know these things about the object of oath and the subject of oath, I would really urge you to start reflecting on these things, all right? And um, follow these 4 things. Get mentally prepared that a connected theme is coming up, all right? And think about what the connection between these two things are. So what are the connection? What is the connection between the object and the subject of the oath? Okay, and then of course our undivided attention would automatically be there now that we know of this thing. Okay, so take care of these 4 points as well. If you see any oath in the Quran during your recitation, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Barakallahu li wa lakum fil Quran al Hakim. Allah Hafiz.